Welcome, students. This is the Professor Travel welcoming you yet again to our Baltic cruise. This is day 10 of our excursion, and today we're in Stockholm, Sweden. Now, today we're going to see a number of different things, including the City Hall, the Vasa Ship Museum, the Royal Palace, and then we had a special anniversary dinner tonight as well. Stockholm is an ancient city with a rich and beautifully diverse history. The grounds of the City Hall is where a lot of diplomatic functions are held, including some of the Nobel Prize awards. The outside of the City Hall building is rather modest. It's covered in different types of brick, has a few statues, and covered in ivy, but it's really quite lovely. But do not mistake this for the opulence of the inside. Many of the rooms are covered in gold and tile work, each one offering different stories on different types of occasions and communications. This is the main room where they hold a lot of the balls, as well as do a lot of dancing, and as well as presenting the various different prizes to the Nobel laureates. You can see the intricate tile and gold work done with each of the different designs here. It's actually quite lovely. Now, the style itself may not be to everybody's liking, but on the same token, it does tell quite an impressive story. As well, you can appreciate the different types of efforts that are being done with all of the hard tile work that's inlaid here. I was also impressed by the acoustics of the place. It really did offer quite a lot in the area. To me, the style appeared almost Greek or Romanesque. I'm not really quite sure what the style inspiration was about, but it definitely seemed that way. We then headed to the Vasa Ship Museum. For those uninitiated, the Vasa was a major warship covered in beautiful carvings and filled to the brim with gold and armaments. So beautiful was it that it was launched with all the fanfare and spectacle. And then, of course, right when it gets out to the harbor, it starts to sink because of the weight of the ship. This was, of course, a great embarrassment for the people, and it was left in the harbor for many years until they were able to excavate it, pull it up plank by plank, and reconstruct it and put it into the Vasa Museum. From the moment you come in, you realize how special this ship is. The berth of the ship is massive. The cold water was able to preserve much of the ship and design very little wear on the ship in total. According to our tour guide, about 95% of the ship was fully recovered. On display, the aft of the ship with all of its incredibly intricate carvings. Here is a slightly different perspective of the rear of the ship. After the Vasa Museum and before we decided to go to the Royal Palace, we stopped in for lunch at a place called the Bishop Arms. The waitstaff here was okay, and the food was hearty, with signature lingonberry sauce and butter available to us. And what meal would be complete without potatoes and Swedish meatballs? We then made our way to the Royal Palace, which was just a delight. But I will warn you ahead of time, if you do have travelers that do need to sit down, there wasn't a lot of space to do that within the palace. On display, the various coats of arms. And speaking of coats, they had a variety of different outfits worn by most of the nobles of the time. The vibrance of the color of these outfits was on display, and as were the medals and ribbons. On display, intricately woven tapestries. Same with amazing designs on the beautifully adorned ceilings. The statuary artwork inside the palace was also very nice to behold as well. I was impressed with the completeness of the collection and the organization that they had for this. Like most other museums we had been to, this one had beautiful gilding along the ceilings as well as on most of the statuary. The chandeliers were crystal and had a mounting of gold on the ceiling. There were several thrones on display available for the regents, as well as display seating area. Unfortunately, not a lot for guests. We did manage to come out and see one of the guards on display as well as a number of medals and accommodations. After a lot of the walking and a lot of the tours for the day, we were pretty tired, so we decided to make our way back to the ship for a really wonderful anniversary dinner. This was a wine pairing dinner that we did this evening, so every single course was paired with a glass of wine, starting off with a shrimp hors d'oeuvre, followed by a beef and potato. Then we had filet topped with foie gras. It was probably the largest filet I have ever had in my entire life. Then for dessert, I selected an apricot Napoleon. But then we were pleasantly surprised by a second dessert that Princess offered us, which was a chocolate mousse cake with shots of limoncello as well. We then said goodbye to Stockholm and made our way back to Copenhagen, just passing narrowly under a bridge that connects the islands to the mainland. Again, the beautiful sunsets from the Baltics are just so radiant, and everyone should have an opportunity to review them. Finally, just getting a breakfast of champions on my way out of the Copenhagen airport. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy them all. If you do, please like and subscribe. We definitely like to hear your comments. As well, if you'd like, you can find us not only here on YouTube, but you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Professor Travel. You can also find us on Twitter at TheProfessorTR1. Please also feel free to click on the bell icon if you would like to get information as new videos are released. Again, I thank you so very much for everything. I hope you enjoyed our tour of the Baltics, and I hope you have a wonderful day and make every travel worth your time.